It's time. Let's dive into the mind of a psycho. This is a fantastic, borderline masterpiece of a Fustercluck. Sometimes everything clicks, everything works, and we just need to sit back and sing its psychotic praises. Welcome to the Potato Backlog Project. I complete games out of my 431 game backlog, earning $5 per completion to go to the purchase of new and used games. Borderlands 3 Season 1 DLC pack was the second purchase I made under these new project rules. Make sure you stick around to the end of the video for the Fustercluck that is the Tater Raider, and let's go. Psycho, Krieg, and the fantastic Fustercluck is the fourth and final offering of the Season 1 DLC pass for Borderlands 3, and man does it finish strong. I wasn't quite sure what to expect going into Psycho Krieg. I thought maybe it would just be a bunch of zany jokes and weirdness judging by the name alone. Krieg is a playable DLC character from Borderlands 2. Essentially, he's a psycho that still has a part of his sanity intact, only it's buried under the surface and there's a constant struggle for control. And that's the main premise of this DLC story. Through our friend Tannis's experiments and studies on psychos, we're able to travel into Krieg's mind. Tannis believes she's found a common thread between all psychos, a place called Valhalla. We are tasked with entering and exploring Krieg's fractured mind and reporting our findings back to Tannis. The story here is expertly crafted. It feels like all the parts of Borderland we like were put into this DLC. The humor, character depth, emotion, and crazy action, they're all here. The story and journey we're taken on through Krieg's mind has real emotional impact. If you have any interest or investment in the Borderlands games or the lore, you will enjoy everything that's going on here. The relationship of sane and insane Krieg is explored in fun and interesting ways. The way insane Krieg talks is pretty great. He says stuff like, "No cakes for dead birthdays, now on with the show." And sane Krieg will just casually respond as if everybody talks that way. I really like the dynamic between them. Seeing them working through things separately and then figuring out ways to work through them together. That character growth was written and paced really well throughout the story. Such a simple idea for a story, but when done well, it carries everything without even seeming like it's trying at all. The dynamic stays interesting through the entire experience. There are also deeper ideas and concepts laced in here, so everything ends up working on multiple levels, and different gamers will get different things out of what's presented here. I just didn't expect it to be so good. The story beats and gunplay sections are put together really well. The set pieces you fight through in Krieg's mind are fun and visually interesting. Like this giant psycho, look at this thing. That thing's insane. There are tons of nooks and crannies to explore within the maps presented here. There are also some sections with different gravity that allow you to use the melee slam a little bit more consistently, which I actually really enjoyed. The melee slam from the air is always something I forget I have the ability to do in Borderlands 3. I actually found the bosses presented here more difficult in this DLC. I'm unsure if it was due to the level I was at or my configuration at the time. I played through this solo and I tried a few different things along the way, but still found the bosses to be really spongy and time consuming. I didn't dislike this. I enjoyed the challenge, but I was just left wondering if I had done something wrong and messed up my build at some point, or maybe that difficulty was intentional. I'm not sure. There are sections of these fights with no way to get a second wind, so the intensity is dialed up the deeper you get into the fights, which I found very enjoyable. My favorite boss is probably the train. I just enjoyed the idea of fighting a runaway train inside the mind of a psycho. And there's another character during this sequence who helps you out, which makes the whole thing pretty awesome. So after what I felt was a slight misstep with Bounty of Blood, the Season 1 DLC really goes out with a bang and finishes very strong. There's a beautiful experience, one where everything works, and it rounds out a quality DLC package that we just don't see very often this day and age. 5 happy potato faces out of 5 on the Tater Raider scale. If I could give it more, I would. So 6 happy potato faces out of 5 because it's my video and I can. Anytime a game is fun to play and interact with, but can also take me on an interesting emotional journey, those games are always gonna sit just a little above the rest of them for me. This is peak Borderlands. Everything hits here and it's must-play content. And with that, the Potato Backlog Project rolls on. I'm happy I finally played and experienced these DLCs. Thank you again to those who suggested I play them in my first Borderlands 3 video. Be kind to yourselves and others that deserve it. We're on to the next one. This guy's a little bit of a psycho. That's how you rate things in life. Almost forgot to hit record. That would have been a damn shame. A shame. A shame, I tell you. Tannis believes she's found a common thread in... Eat the cake on a birthday, Saturday, Sunday, Monday, Sunday, Sunday. Pretty good. Half of the lies I tell are not true. And my oh my, does that sound dumb.